Parliament turned into a heated arena today, and Mélanie Joly was at the center of it. Pierre Poilievre launched an attack, criticizing Joly over Stellantis' decision to move part of its auto production to the United States under Trump's economic policies. But what happened next was a clear display of political authority. Joly didn't just respond, she dismantled Poilievre's claims one by one, exposing what she called his misleading arguments and lack of credibility. By the end, one thing was certain. When Canadian jobs are at stake, Mélanie Joly is not someone who backs down.
Tragically, 3,000 auto workers in Brampton learned that the Prime Minister had sold them out and failed them in negotiations with the United States of America. To make matters worse, this Liberal government and this Liberal finance minister forked over $15 billion, tax dollars, to the company that is moving their jobs south. So, surely the government would have negotiated a jobs guarantee for every single Canadian Stellantis employee. Will they release that guarantee and the entire contract so Canadians know where their dollars went?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, of course, what Stellantis announced for the Brampton plant last week was completely unacceptable. And Stellantis has made solemn commitments to this government and to their workers, and they need to honor their commitments. And that's why we will hold them to account. While my colleagues are just right now talking, we already know that in committee we said that we would agree to the production of documents. Thank you.
Poilievre's attack was expected. He accused Joly of abandoning Canadian workers and allowing jobs to shift south. But Joly was prepared. With composed confidence, she reminded Parliament that every agreement Canada signs is enforceable, and that Stellantis will be required to honor every commitment made to Canadian auto workers. Her response was sharp, her message direct. Canada will not be pushed around by corporate pressure or by Trump-style trade tactics. Within moments, she changed the tone of the debate. The opposition benches fell silent as she firmly defended Canadian industry and the workers who keep it alive.
Mr. Speaker, surely Stellantis would not be announcing that it is moving a 3,000-worker plant to the United States of America if this government had negotiated job guarantees in that contract of $15 billion. To put this into perspective, $15 billion is $1,000 for every single family in Canada that was supposed to create jobs. So, simple yes or no question. Is there an ironclad guarantee of every single worker's job here in Canada in exchange for that $15 billion handout?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, let me be extremely clear. We will fight for these jobs because Canadian auto workers are the best auto workers in the world. And we will make sure that Stellantis face all consequences, including legal ones. That being said, an hour ago, I met here in Ottawa with the head of Canadian Stellantis, with the head of Unifor, and also with the Minister of Economic Development of Ontario. We're one strong team, Canada, and we will make sure that these jobs stay in Brampton.
Then came Poilievre's second attempt, a more desperate push to force Joly into admitting that Trump's tariffs and U.S. incentives were gaining the upper hand. But Joly refused to yield. Instead, she delivered what many are now calling her defining Canada First moment. She told Parliament that Ottawa will always defend domestic industry and protect Canadian jobs. We will fight for every Canadian worker, she said, making it clear that when multinational corporations look at North America, they shouldn't see an easy target. They should see a strong and determined Canada. It was firm, patriotic, and it dismantled Poilievre's narrative entirely. This exchange wasn't just about Stellantis. It revealed a much larger power struggle, Trump's America moving aggressively to dominate North American manufacturing, while some voices in Ottawa appear willing to echo Washington's agenda. But Joly drew a clear line. Canada, she said, makes its own decisions. She reminded the House that while Trump's economic team boasts about pulling jobs back to the U.S., Canada has been expanding trade opportunities in Europe, Asia, and beyond. And if the United States wants to escalate economic pressure, Canada is ready, not to surrender, but to respond with strategy.
Mr. Speaker, still no answer. It was the finance minister, the present-day finance minister, who is in charge of a $500 billion forthcoming Liberal budget that was the one who signed this deal. And amazingly, barely 2 years after he signed it and forked over 15 billion Canadian tax dollars, the company receiving it is moving the jobs to the United States of America. That minister claims she might take legal action. She can't do that unless there's actually a job guarantee. So will she tell us, yes or no, does every Canadian Stellantis worker have a job guarantee?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, when this government negotiates contracts, they're good ones. And so my colleague will have the chance to see these contracts. That being said, we will make sure to put full pressure on the company. These jobs need to stay in Brampton. These jobs need to stay in Canada. And ultimately, the future of the auto sector is bright, and we'll continue to fight for it.
Bravo.
By the time Poilievre attempted one final attack, claiming Canadians deserve better, Joly had already seized control of the debate, and that was the decisive moment. Even members on the government benches rose in applause. This was more than a routine exchange in Parliament. It was a clear display of strength from a minister who is done allowing Canada to be portrayed as weak or passive. Joly wasn't simply defending policy, she was defending national confidence. Today's heated confrontation made one thing unmistakably clear. The current government is no longer reacting to global economic pressure, it's taking the lead. Ottawa is moving to secure Canada's future in the next era of automotive production, electric vehicles, battery manufacturing, and clean technology innovation, even if that means standing firm against Trump's America. And Mélanie Joly, once known mainly for her diplomatic approach, proved she can deliver political force with precision. She didn't just silence Poilievre, she reshaped the narrative of economic leadership in Canada. As the Stellantis dispute continues, one truth is now evident. Joly isn't backing down, and neither is Canada. Trump's tariff threats and Poilievre's partisan attacks do not change the reality that Canada's industrial future will be built here at home, not dictated by Washington. Today, Joly made that absolutely clear. Canada cannot be intimidated when it chooses to stand and fight for itself. Before closing, I want to take a moment to say thank you. We are incredibly close to reaching 49,000 subscribers on YouTube, and your support has meant everything. This platform has never been about chasing numbers. It's been about speaking truth, defending our values, and telling Canada's story the way it deserves to be told. Knowing that so many of you watch, comment, and share these videos is truly humbling. Thank you for being part of Canada today. This isn't just a channel, it's a community. A voice for a nation that refuses to be underestimated. If you haven't already, hit subscribe because the next chapter of this story is just getting started.